A mind is a terrible thing to waste. That used to be a big slogan in the 1960s, really pointing to the education of Black young minds. And in this political climate, in this social moment, Texas has set a precedent. It has um, removed major and most of um, from their curriculum historical events, facts, actions that leave the majority of the curriculum to white history, not American history, not women's history, not civil rights, not human rights. They took out, literally, they took out women's suffrage. They took out Cesar Chavez. They took out Native American or Indigenous American history. They even took out the language that said that the Ku Klux Klan was morally wrong and eugenics was morally wrong. They took all of that out. What they left in was that Columbus discovered America. Hello, I'm Dr. Venus, your hot mess millionaire, and today we're going in. We're really contending with the fight for what our children are taught in public schools. Now, before I get in all the way in, before I go all the way in, okay, please be sure to tag, to share, to post. This is important specifically for parents of children who've been historically marginalized, not just Black parents, but poor parents, Latino. If you anyone who's not white, take the case that there is a systematic agenda to remove every kind of reference to anything that does not make white people look good from the education of our young people. Now, this is important for a number of reasons, but the main one, before I go all the way in, is this. When children are educated to know about other nationalities, other races, other religions, the melting pot that is America, they develop more empathy. There's a way to relate. There's a different kind of understanding because they have friends who don't look like what they see on TV, right? And when you take that away, what you end up fostering is a condition in which white young people, and I will dare to say white young men, are cultivated to believe that they are superior because that's what they're being taught in the books. Now, I could go all the way in to the Daughters of the Revolution. I'm sorry, forgive me, Jesus. The Daughters of the Confederacy and how they educated generations, okay, of Caucasian children to believe that the Civil War was won by the Confederate side. And we feel those reverbs nowadays, okay? And that was an intended thing, intended strategy. And what we're dealing with is right now, Texas, their Senate Bill 3 was voted 18-4 to take out any kind of reference to race, racism, anything they think has anything to do with critical race theory, okay? But they left in all the stuff that was white. All the stuff that they think is, all the stuff they think that's neutral, okay? All the stuff they think is neutral is like, oh, well, that's not bias because they don't see white as a bias. They think that's the standard. And anything that's not that, including women's rights, the fact that the right for a woman to have control over her body, that the state does not have the right to tell her if she can or cannot terminate a pregnancy. They took that out. It's no longer required. Now, a teacher can teach it, but they can't skew it. So if you're talking about just the Trail of Tears, how do you talk about that and not include race, oppression, the trickery of how indigenous people were robbed of their land? How do you do that? So now the teacher's hands are tied. You see what I'm saying? So here's the thing. I don't have any patience with a bunch of crap because I just think it's just another way to keep us distracted. Okay. I think it's another way to try to exercise some kind of control in a rapidly changing world. I do. I don't even, it frustrated me in terms of the hypocrisy, but in terms of strategy, it's childish. Okay. Now, there are certain things I've come up with 10 ways to actually to turn this around, and I'm gonna tell you about them in a moment. All right. But I don't see you sharing. Where's the sharing? Where are you at? Okay, please share, tag, post. Okay, especially if you look. One of the things they count on from us, y'all, I need you to hear this word, okay? They count on us not to be awake. They count on us not to think. They count on us to be reactionary instead of being strategic. They count on it. They're trying to do this stuff on the hush. There are 23 other states in the process of doing the same stuff that Texas just did. And it's on the hush. You don't see it until after they vote. You don't hear about it until it hits the news, right? So it's important that we not, how can I say, God, help me fix it, that we get hip to the game, okay? So they're moving things on the hush, so by the time we get to it, we're behind the ball. Does it make sense? And that is deliberate. That is intentional. And so I want to talk to you about some principles first before I get into some strategies, okay? Here's the first thing. Principle number one. The victor always writes the history books, okay? Now, what that means is white people, white supremacy, white privilege, systems of oppression, whichever one we're using today, I'm fine with it. Pick your poison, all right? They're writing in favor of what they want their children to know. I need you to hear me. They're not writing against us, they're writing for them. They're trying to protect their children from knowing what has happened historically. And they won't say it like that. They'll say, well, our children, that we need to protect our children's innocence. We need to protect them from the leftist, political agenda. Never mind that it happened. Never mind that they really did steal the land from indigenous people. Never mind that slavery really did happen. Never mind that Tulsa really did happen. Never mind any of the stuff that none of the truth matters. The only thing that matters to that particular group of human beings is that they want their own, how can I say this, God, help me fix it, their image of being good and wholesome and winners passed on for generations at the cost of everybody else. That's what they're arguing for under the auspices of protection. Now, the thing that drove me crazy was they say that racism isn't real, systemic racism isn't real, there's no such thing as race, and yet they don't want to talk about something that's not real. Isn't that fascinating? Okay. And so what I want you to start thinking through, my friend, my sister of success, and the brothers who love us, fam, and allies, is this. Desperate people take desperate actions. And if the only strategy they can come up with is trying to get their next generation to be like the previous one, that lets me know something very important, and I need you to hear my word on this. That lets me know that their children aren't buying the crap that they have been spewing. I don't know if y'all heard that. That was preach, God. That was so preach. If their children were believing what they believed, they would not have to go through this. Now, think of it this way. The world is mixing. Everybody's having sex with everybody. We have mixed race babies. We have different kinds of groups. Everybody is literally white or people of European ancestry are now the minority in public schools. Okay. And so you have this melting pot that's happening, and their children are coming home talking about Black Lives Matter, twerking, talking about marching, talking about all these things. And so what they're grabbing at is getting to the textbooks. Do you see how desperate that is? That their children are demonstrating that their ideology is dying, and they're trying to protect it and preserve it and keep it going for the next generation. So they're going to the textbooks. Do you understand that? I want y'all to, please, God, please help me help them understand how much we must be winning. That their only option is to go and screw with the curriculum, what the kids can be taught. Be mindful of that. Don't get discouraged. Get inspired. Like, okay, change must really be underfoot. That their only strategy that they can come up with is let's take it out the books. They don't need to know about that. Well, women they don't have a right to their bodies. I mean, can you see how crazy that sounds? But that's what the action says. They're trying to protect and preserve an ideology that's no longer current. And their children are smart. I want you to be clear. They're like this is very important to note. If they're going through all this shenanigans to keep their children innocent, what that means is ignorant. I want y'all to catch that. Ignorant is not the same as innocent, okay? Because if you don't have those type of teachings or those type of conversations required in classrooms, then you can have a father or an uncle or a mother who keeps saying, white is better and black is bad, but we're all equal. Then that's going to train that child to not have any kind of empathy or relationship to anybody who doesn't think like he or she does. That's what I need you to understand. It's a thinking woman's game. Come on, sis. I need you to think through this with me. Where you at? Where you at? It's important to note that if you get caught up in your feelings, and you should go through your feelings. I go through mine. You will hear my face. But once I'm on the other side, I'm like, okay, God, what we working with? Oh, okay. The world is changing. They're trying to get their children to be like them, and clearly they aren't, so they're going to the textbooks. Okay, Jesus, caught that. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Okay? So I need you to understand that all of these attempts to make America great again or make America a slave country again is a desperate man's way of trying to hold on to that which he considers valuable. And that would be his image. Okay? And it is falling. And so what we're bumping into is that kind of backlash from a change in society in which all the old systems are crumbling. So they're going to the textbooks, girl. They're going to the textbooks. That's how much it's crumbling. So be encouraged, sis. Don't once you have your heat, spit your fire, and then start thinking through it. Okay? I had my heat, I spat my fire, and now I'm thinking through it. Like, okay, God, game on, not a problem. So here's the thing. Republican parties in different states who have the majority are more than likely going to take out all kinds of things from their curriculum so that their children don't have to contend with I'm trying not to curse God. I don't know if it's going to last. The stuff that their people have done, and they're going to villainize people who are not like them. Okay, God, got it. Clear, clear, clear. That's what we're working with. What can we do? What can we do? What can you and I do? What can you and I do as allies, as parents, as aunties, as uncles? And I mean, because the thing is, it hurts the white kids too, y'all, when they don't hear about Dr. King's speech, or they don't know about Susan B. Anthony. And when young girls start dealing with body image and having a voice, and they don't know anything about suffrage or women's rights. And if they do, it's just a little bit. Okay, and they're slick with it, y'all. They do a little bit so they can say, oh, we didn't take it all out, but they took out the major pieces. You see what I'm saying? And so, like I said, there's at least 32 other states. Don't quote me on that one. I have to look at it. It's one of the articles in which they're doing the same thing that Texas did. All right? But I'm not worried about it now. Let me tell you why. I've already told you about the desperation. Okay? I already told you I gotta say this before I say the next piece. One of the things that the Republican, well, at least the Republican Party, I would say across the board, the older Republican Party, right, knows is that when their children have peers who are of other races, they tend to vote Democrat. I need y'all to hear that. And I want you to hear that as that's the long game. That's not the immediate game. There's like, wow, when children of European ancestry kick it with kids or students and children and peers who are of a different ancestry than they are, and they don't vote Republican, they vote Democratic. So if you can get the textbooks in early to get that and keep and keep us from talking, then what you're doing is you're building up a whole group of young people who believe that I can't even say it, God, the Confederacy won the war, and black people are lazy, and women who work are trifling, and that every woman should, whether they want to keep the child or not, if they don't, if they have an abortion, they're murderers. That's all ideology, and that is what they're out to do with their kids, their children, their legacy, their future Republican voters. Do not ignore that. Okay? It's not, I need y'all to make a shift. Don't think about it from they're hurting me. Think about it from they're protecting them. And they're trying to protect what they're losing. And the only thing they could think of is like, okay, let's just take it out the books. Okay, fine. So let's go with that. And I'm not even going to talk about getting votes. So that's one thing. Okay. But I want to talk to you about why we as a people, and I'm right now specifically talking to black women, and everybody's welcomed here. Okay. And for whatever your background, map it on. Okay. This is the thing, sis. I was looking at, well, how the hell, if we know these, I'm trying not, I'm not going to make it Jesus. I'm probably going to curse. I can feel it coming. I can feel it about to rise. So if we know these folk killed us for just learning how to read, why would we trust them with our babies' minds? Why would we do that? What logical thought would let us think that if we gave them access to our babies, that they would do right by us? But I mean, literally, and I'm a little hot on it. No, you should definitely share this. This is no. It took me 16 minutes to get to this point. Okay, here's what I'm dealing with. Black woman. What the fuck? What the fuck? Why would we even imagine they wouldn't do this? Why would we even think for a moment that given how much they've lied and done the stuff that they've done, historically, that we know of, that we have experienced in the workplace, in our education, going to college, why would we expect them to actually be fair or inclusive or fucking honest? Why? And I've been being with that question in my own spirit. So I'm saying it to us, okay? And like I said, for my men and my allies, you're welcome to be here. But I'm really talking to black women about why would we trust the enemy who has turned our bodies into factories in order to get free labor for generations and kept us in the dark, who refused to let us learn how to read. And when we did, they got us dead. They killed us. Why would we think, why would we do that? Why would we trust them to educate our children? Why? It's a rhetorical question, but it's worth looking into. And I got some theories. Here's the first one. We didn't. Okay? If you think about before integration, we did not let them touch our babies. I want you to be clear about that. But if you just go back to after Reconstruction up until integration, up until the 60s, I'm talking about from like literally just if you go from Reconstruction all the way to the 60s, when we had our own banks, our own hospitals, our own schools, our own barbershops. If y'all, you know what I'm saying? If y'all remember that, there was a whole season where we were self-reliant. Self-reliant. Now, I know they came and did some bullshit. I know they burned some shit and drowned some stuff. I know. I'm not talking about that today. What I'm talking about is us. That we knew we couldn't trust them. We knew that they were against us. It was clear and it was active. Okay? So our ancestors knew that they had it in their blood to be awful to us. Now I think they're awful to each other in terms of that level of domestic terrorism and the level of white extremist, okay, really, all the way down, all right? But what I am clear on is that somewhere in there, you and I, at the level of consciousness, collectively, I'm not saying individual, so hear my word. I'm not talking to you, Boo, as a person. I'm talking to you as an idea. I'm talking to you as a piece of a pie. I'm talking to you as part of a collective. So it's not me, it's we. It's not you, it's us. So please hear it as a love offering, as a way to get to something, not a condemnation, okay? So don't hear me like that. I'm always loving on you. Okay, sis? So don't go sideways with me. Okay? But what I want you to understand is when we did integration, we stopped being responsible for our children's education. That was preached, Jesus. I'm gonna say it one more time. For the people in the overflow. When integration happened, I believe in my bones that we as a people got hopeful for equality. I believe that. I think that we thought that when we started to get access and they started to relate to us as AKA equals, we let our guard down. We stopped being accountable for ourselves the way we were in segregated in a segregated South. Okay, and I say because we started to live under the illusion of equality, we stopped being accountable. We stopped being accountable. Okay, and I say, and that's not a blame. That doesn't equal bad. That equals resting, quite frankly, because we have been standing for so many years, decades and hundreds of years for equality, that when things started to open up, we got hopeful. But I will tell you this, my friend. I don't think the hate went away with the water hoses and the dogs and the beatings with the billy clubs. I think it went underground. And I think it went into the school systems. I think it went into the prison pipelines. I think it went into redlining. I think it went into gerrymandering. I think it went underground. That's what I think. Okay? And because it wasn't blatant, we got seduced. We got seduced by the illusion of equality. And in that seduction, we stopped being accountable for all of it, for all the pieces, including education. Okay? Now, that's no judgment, no condemnation. I'm in it too. So I'm saying we. I'm not saying, I'm saying we, okay? We stopped being accountable. And we trusted an idea called equality. We trusted an idea called equality. And I understand, I did too. So this is not a condemnation. It's not condemnation. It's just looking life in the eye and being like, okay, God, what am I missing? Oh, okay. We stopped being accountable. And when we stopped being accountable, we took our eye off, off of the prize. Okay. So here's where I stand in the matter. I don't fight fights I can't win. I don't do it. It's bad for business. I'm not going to do it. I don't fight them because I think fighting fights you can't win it squanders your the anointing and it squanders your energy and resource. So I don't do that. What I do is I think through, okay, God, I can go and try to make the school boards change their curriculum back to be inclusive. And there will be some who will, and they should do that. Ah, I have no such passion. I'm much more of a pragmatist, okay? So I've come up with 10 different strategies I want to run by you that I think that if we implemented them, they can do whatever they want to with the public schools. And I do think I forgot this, and also our tax dollars pay for that. So I think we could also deal with that one as well, but I didn't put it on my list of 10. Let's make that a bonus. But fundamentally, what I'm more interested in is you. You're powerful, sis. You are God wrapped in flesh. You are the origins of all creation. Every race comes from your genetic pool. You are the mother of humanity. Okay, sis? And I need you to feel me on that. I need you to understand that you are not some regular chick. Okay? You are the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the head and not the tail. You are the righteousness of God. You are more than a conqueror. Girl, you are everything right about life. Okay? And when you understand who you are, then you can speak back to the enemy. And this is what I'm being with. I say, all right, y'all go ahead and play with your little stuff. We're going to still outsmart you like we always have. Always. And it's going to be fine. But this is what I'm thinking. Instead of fighting, maybe I got to pick the right one. Instead of trying to make them behave and do right by us, y'all know how I am. I believe in having our own. That's why I'm creating my digital platform that's about to drop. Okay. And there's a link. I put a link up here. So if you want to keep in the loop on that, please make sure you put your name in the box. Okay. But I want to, where did I put it? I'm looking for something. I made a list. Oh, I know what I did. I put it on a different thing. 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. 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 I got it now. All right. Ugh. Okay. So the way my brain works is I'm committed to you and I being financial, economically, and emotionally emancipated from the history of the past. Okay. And that doesn't have any sway on us anymore. Okay. And that's where I'm standing. And so so I'm including parenting. And I'm actually out to have a content creator be on my platform who talks about decolonizing a parenting approach around decolonization. And so my prayer is that she says yes, but because I want to make sure we have something there for parents. And but if you want to be kept in a loop, make sure you go to the top of these notes and fill out that link that takes you to my app. Okay. So this is what I decided. So here's what I have: 10 strategies. You may want to write these down. You may want to tag somebody. You may want to, I don't know, send this to somebody else, share, do your thing, right? But this is important in that this is a way that we can actually be accountable and turn the tide instead of waiting on white supremacists, white extremists, domestic terrorists, waiting for them to act right. We're not doing that. So the first thing is specifically for my parents, and this is for my men and my women, but I'm talking to my women right now. Okay, join the school board. Join it and make a ruckus. Join the school board. Let your voice be heard. Find out who's in charge. Introduce yourself to them. Make sure they know that they're going to have to contend with you if they do some bullshit. Okay. Okay. The second one is sue the school district with other parents. Like, for example, in Texas, if there was a group of Black parents who got together and decided to sue the school for taking out a diverse curriculum, that's a valid strategy. That's what the white people are doing in Virginia. They're suing the school for including it. I'm real quick to watch what they're doing. Y'all, I got my eye on them. Okay, so that's another way to actually combat, fight for black baby minds, for our children's minds. Next, number 3 is include the media. Put them on blast. Put them on blast, girl. So if you know that your child is imagine your child is being bullied or going through some extra stuff, because that's what they do. And I'm not going to talk to you about that because I don't want to take us into that space. But you want to don't be afraid to include the media when something happens in with your school, with your child's school, your child's education, whether it's curriculum or behavioral. Whether it's a teacher, if something happens and your child says a teacher says something awful, then call the news. Call the news and have the news come up there with you while you interview that teacher. Make it known. Bring it to the light. Bring it all to the light. Okay. Number 4, sit in on classes your kids take. If you have a right as a parent, you're a parent. You have power. You have every right to sit in and see how that teacher is teaching and relating to your child. You have every right to see that. You have every right to interview the principals, the vice principals, the counselors. Let your presence be known, but go see what they're teaching and how they're teaching and how they're talking to you. Does your child naturally sit in the back? Why? Find out. You are the parent. You pay them. You need to start walking in your authority, girl. You pay them. Your tax dollars pays for public education. So you need to walk in there like you own that building. Okay? Number 5, get a copy of the reading list and curriculum being taught to your children. Let it be nosy. Okay, what books are you reading? What books are my babies reading this week? What are we reading this month? What are we reading this year? Okay, what curriculum are you using? What are your sources? Put those teachers on blast. Help them know that they're not going to slip your child a Mickey and just have your child just at the effect of whatever they think is best for your child. Okay, that was number 5. Number 6, supplemental readings to fill in the holes. I put a number of resources down below. Okay, and one of the articles was talking about how you can have your child go to a public school. Okay, but they're going there just to learn certain things. You're not sending them to learn how to be good people, and you're not sending them there to learn how to be proud of themselves. So you supplement that. You let them learn math, science, whatever, and you set it up so you have supplement already at home. Okay. Number 7, create or attend after school programs that feature Black history. You may have to create it. I don't think that's bad. I create stuff all the time because stuff ain't there for me. So I go and make it up. I create my own, and then I get some people who believe what I believe, and we do it together. And so you may have to provide leadership, sis, but it's for your baby. It's for the babies, right? It's for the children not being left out and feeling like they're second class citizens. They can feel like they're special because they have their own group. You see what I'm saying? You can make it beautiful. All right. Um, create or attend or say that. 8, Black history apps. Start including technology. There are different apps that do educational things around Black history, around Black inventors, around Black famous people. Include them. Do it with your children, and let them include the technology in it, so it's not just bookish and boring. Okay. 9, create a Black History book club with other parents. And then y'all can trade books. You can do it with the kids. You can get different versions of it, and then we're doing it together, okay? And then that was number 9. And number 10, Black men mentor group to teach healthy masculinity. One of the things that I'm taking on in my life, girl, let me help you understand. I am actively creating groups of Black men who empower Black men who empower powerful Black women, okay? And so part of what I'm being with is, if we don't invite our men in to bring their knowledge and wisdom, then they won't know they're wanted here. Okay. So I actually, like, I'm dating, I have a new bae. And so I'm actually reaching out to other couples, Black power couples, where I know the Black men empower their Black powerful women. I'm making sure we have couple friends. You know what I'm saying? We have couple groups, so that when he and I have our own disagreements, I know he'll have a resource to go to work that through, that isn't toxic. And I'm thinking, if we bring that to our babies, and it could be uncles, it could be college graduates, guys, it could be artisans, it could be whatever. But it's an active, we're being accountable for our children's education. We're not saying, well, you should know. I don't care what you should know. I'm gonna tell you what I need. I need you to make time to be with my boys. That's what I need. I don't care what you thought. Let me tell you what I need and work it out. You see what I'm saying? So I think that, and the reason I'm saying it this way is because I want you, my sweet, precious, priceless sister in success, to know that you don't have to wait on anybody or anything to be powerful. We don't have to wait on Texas or the Senate to get it together for us to have our babies win. We don't have to. Now we'll have to do it together, but when has it ever not been that way? And I have to tell you like this, I'd rather do it with you than with anybody else. Okay? But what I'm really clear on is our ancestors were accountable. That's what changed. That's what got us through. Okay? And I say that if we take on being accountable, instead of trying to make people change their behaviors, whether it's the teacher, the school board, your boss, or your boo, doesn't matter to me. You and I, we can do anything. You are amazing, girl. You are so dope. There's nothing you can't do. It's just a matter of committing to it and getting your mind focused on the outcome, not your feelings. You can have your feelings. I have mine all the time. Rest assured. Okay? And I keep my mind on my outcomes. And my actions are a match for my outcomes, not my feelings. And if I can see that somebody has no interest and commitment to nurturing that which I love, I don't go ask them to change. I do not. I don't. And I don't think that doesn't mean you can't. But I'm building my own platform, so we don't ever have to ask for nothing. I'm not saying we won't. I'm saying we won't have to. But our ancestors demonstrated clearly to us after Reconstruction that we are the money. We are the ones that actually have all this move. I want us to have it move for us, not them. And our children are worth the fight. So I'm just saying, they're going to do what they do, like they always have. Okay? They're going to do what they always do. But we can do so much more. And it makes us get educated. It makes us learn things. I have to learn new things just to have the conversations I'm having with y'all now. But I love you enough to learn it. I want you to win. I'm not going to have you fail on my watch. That's ridiculous. So I learned some things. I learned new things. I have to reach out to people. I have to make requests. I have to heal a lot. But it's worth it because you're worth it. And I love you, and I know you love your child. I know you love your children. And I know it's been hard. I know it hasn't been easy. I know you're probably working 50, 11 jobs somewhere, or you have to deal with all kinds of crazy. I know. I know, baby. I'm clear. And our ancestors had to deal with more, and they still got it done. They still got it done. I can't even tell. Look, they were washing clothes, scrubbing floors, and making sure we got our books studies in while they were ironing. So, in my worldview, I'm taking the case that we are very capable of being sufficient unto ourselves, and we can count on each other. And it may not be a bunch, it may not be everybody, but it's enough to make a difference. And I want to make a difference with you. I don't want us to keep having the same conversations each decade. I don't want your children, my nieces and nephews, their children to still be dealing with how white supremacy is taking stuff out the textbooks that they should know. Well, then we don't have to depend on them to know. And when they go to college and meet other white kids, they can say, "Hey, well, here's your textbook said this, but this is what I know for certain." And they can speak back to the enemy because we love them enough to prepare them. Okay. So, and the last strategy is you can always homeschool. Okay. But I'm saying I just want to give you some more strategies that you can apply now instead of later. Okay. And we can do this. We're accountable. We're accountable. I'm accountable for you. I am my sister's keeper. I'm accountable for your winning. I'm accountable for your emotional and economic freedom. I am. Why? Because I have the knowledge and you don't. Okay. So I'm accountable and I take that seriously. And I know you do too. I know you love your baby. So I'm not going to talk you long on it. So that's all I got. That's it. This is Dr. Venus, your hot mess millionaire. If you're fed by this word, it's like giving word, it's like affirming word. Please pay it forward. Sharing is an act of love. It is. And no one is talking about what I'm talking about. So please do not be stingy. If you were fed, please share. You can put a little love note saying, "Hey, she cray cray, but she got some points." Say what you got to say. I don't care. All right. But I do think that if we don't start sharing the word and getting the word out, then we're going to be caught off guard because they are on the move. They are rolling back civil rights. They're doing it right in our face. This is one of those moves. But we can counter that by virtue of us being accountable and educating our own selves and our own children, while another group of us is contending with the politics and the legal actions. It takes a village. Okay, it takes a village, and we're part of the village, and we all have, just like the body of Christ, we have our own roles to play. Okay, I'm just have to be the mouthpiece. Okay, all right, beloved. Thank you, bro. Thank you, sis. Thank you, fam. Thank you, allies, for hearing my word. Please share this video, and please subscribe to the Hot Mess Millionaire podcast. And know that I love you, and I'm proud of you, and you're doing great. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's all I got right now. This is Dr. B, your hot mess millionaire. I love you, sis. And remember this, you're worth so much more than you have ever been taught to believe. Goodbye for now.